How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown. I'm assuming you clicked on this video because you wanted to know why did Alabama dominate Clemson in the 2018 Sugar Bowl College Football Playoff Semifinal. Well, I'm here to give it to you. I'll just let you know what I'm going to talk about, give you the outline so you can know where I am at whatever point in the video, and then you can just go on from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out talking a little bit about the statistics, just a little bit, and then analyzing that and then giving you kind of some overall general points. And then I'm going to go into breaking down some of the key plays quarter by quarter here. And I have a lot of them, and it won't be all of them actually, because I tried a lot of plays, but these are the ones that I circled on my analysis. And so I think these are some of the more important ones, or at least the big ones that everyone noticed. I'm going to give you a little bit more insight on it. But man, I wish I would make the whole video, but I don't have time to do one for every single play. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So first of all, look at this. Clemson ended the game with 188 yards of total offense. 188 yards of total offense. And about half of that, or almost half of that, a good bit of it, came on that last drive that they had, where they got the ball at the 6-minute, 39-second mark of the fourth quarter. And they drove all the way to the red zone, and they ended up flaming out. I think that drive was about 18 plays with 1 minute, 48 seconds left. So an 18-play drive that got about half of their yards, and Alabama was just playing contained and free on the rush and coverage a little bit. And so Alabama basically held Clemson to about 100 yards of total offense when it was still seriously a game. That is really impressive. So I was really impressed with that stat line, that performance. Alabama dominated the line of scrimmage defensively for the majority of the game. For 99% of the game, I would say they just really outperformed Clemson on the line of scrimmage and abused them guys and really beat that offensive line that a lot of people were touting up, and they really wanted to prove that they were still Alabama, and they did. One thing Clemson did, though, or I should say this before I even say that point. Before I did this video here, I did a video before the Oklahoma video I did. It was about Alabama's and Clemson's keys and matchups. And one of the things is that Clemson likes to throw the ball short. They throw the ball short so much. Caleb Bryant hasn't really thrown the ball down the field. And so I said Alabama will probably challenge the receivers and challenge those short routes by pressing them and getting in their face. And that is exactly what Alabama did to Clemson. They got in the wide receivers' faces all day. They were usually within 2 yards of them. Sometimes they pressed, sometimes they just followed, and they really challenged those short throws. Those, especially Hunter Renfrow, likes to do short stick routes. They like out routes, in routes, everything short. And they did this. This was effective because they also stopped Clemson's running game to start out. As a matter of fact, Clemson rushed the ball 33 times and only had 64 yards. That is 1.9 yards per rush, basically 2 yards per rush. You're not going to beat Alabama running the ball like that. And Caleb Bryant himself had 19 rushes for 19 yards. Like I said, you're not going to beat Alabama running the ball like that. And Caleb Bryant, who's a big part of their team's success running, he was not able to keep them going. And along with, when Alabama said they challenged the receivers, Clemson eventually in the game figured, well, we can't get them on the short route, so let's go a little bit more intermediate. So they tried to do some deeper outs, deeper stick routes. And at that point, Alabama was up, so they were playing off a little bit. So it was a little bit successful. That's why I say Alabama dominated majority of the game, but at times they kind of let some things up. And during this time where they were trying to do some of the deeper routes, they tried to challenge Levi Wallace. And if you're an Alabama fan and if you've been watching the game this year, you know when people try to challenge Levi Wallace, it doesn't work out well for them. He's leading the team in interceptions. He's leading the team in pass breakups. And they tried it. And on one particular play, I'm going to talk about it later in the game, he pulled out the interception on him. And Levi played a really good game, holding his own against a really good receiver, Deion Kane. So that was that. Clemson overall passing, they were 18 of 37. One of those attempts was from a running back with no touchdowns for 124 yards. 18 completions for 124 yards. That's 3.4 yards per completion. Caleb Bryant only completed 50% of his passes against Alabama. and there were no touchdowns. 18 completions for 124 yards. And the reason why I keep highlighting that, because then you look at Jalen's stat line for Alabama. Alabama's passing was 16 of 24. 66% on completions there for 120 yards. So Jalen had 2 less completions and had 120 yards, which is basically he exceeded Kelly Bryant's passing. Kelly Bryant only had 4 more yards than him, but Jalen was completing 5 yards per completion, which is not outstanding. It's not going to blow the socks off, but what it does show you is that Alabama was actually challenging Clemson more than Clemson's offense was challenging Alabama. And just that, like I said in my analysis video, Jalen Hurts actually challenges down the field more than Kelly Bryant does. Alabama actually has had Jalen throw the ball more intermediately and up the field. And the narrative in this game was that Alabama couldn't pass, but the truth is Clemson's offense was actually more limited passing coming into this game, but that just didn't fit the sports media narrative of, what they had to say beforehand. And Jalen Hurts actually had 2 touchdowns. He completed 66% of his passes, and he actually had the potential to complete 75% of his passes with there were 2 drops. The Cam Sims slant, which I'm going to detail, and then the Bo Scarborough flat route that he dropped. And there was also about 2 or 3 more completions that could have been caught. But I'll put a little bit more. I'll talk about those as well. So Jalen Hurts could have had a really outstanding and could have made it look even better. But he actually had a pretty solid game. Not prolific, which wasn't the game plan. The game plan wasn't for him to go out and throw for 500 yards. But that's another discussion. That's just a little bit of analysis of those numbers. I'll give you a few more. Time possession, Alabama won 32 minutes to 27 minutes. Of course, there's some seconds in there. Third downs, Alabama won there too. Both teams converted 8 third downs, but Alabama had 8 of 17, while Clemson had 8 of 19. Some of Alabama fans' big complaints is that Jalen Hurts at quarterback doesn't convert third downs. I'm saying that you're just messing with you all a little bit. Well, in this game they did, and that was part of the game plan, which is really effective. Well, I'll end this with two more thoughts. Kelly Bryant wasn't really able to beat the coverage because he was under constant pressure all day because Alabama dominated the line of scrimmage and stopped the run, so he had nowhere to go. We made Clemson one-dimensional. That's basically what this game came down to. Alabama made Clemson one-dimensional, and they weren't able to overcome their one-dimensional status like they did last year with Deshaun Watson, like they did the previous year with Deshaun Watson. Clemson those last 2 years realized we couldn't run the ball. That's what they said. So we're going to let Deshaun Watson make some amazing throws and lead us to victory. And he did. One of those years, which was last year. This year, Kelly Bryant didn't have the ability to do that. And they paid for it. And another interesting weird notice that in my keys and matchups game, I picked on 2 guys. I said Kendall Joseph of Clemson, linebacker number 34, and safety Van Smith, number 23. I said those guys are a little undersized and they get picked on, they get out of position, and they actually played really well. I guess they must have watched my video and got motivated, and they played really well. Van Smith did make one mistake in the game, but it didn't cost him, and I'll talk about that. And then just one final funny thing is that I swear if Jalen Hurts had injured Nick Saban, the state of Alabama probably would have put a hit out on him when he ran to Nick Saban at the end of the game. But no, that's funny. So let's just go right into some of these plays. Man, I really want to give you all these plays, but I can't. But I'm just going to go into it. So I knew Clemson was in trouble from the opening kickoff. I mean, I knew it because Trayvon Diggs laid Travis Etienne down. If you haven't seen the kickoff, you didn't see that play, just go watch it. I'm not even saying anymore. He just laid him down. But let's jump to a play. The 12-minute, 32-second mark of the first quarter. Jalen Hurts sees the defense is playing off, and they're showing the blitz. He checks from the run play to a quick slant at the line of scrimmage. Clemson did send the blitz from Van Smith and Dorian O'Daniel on the edges. So Clemson tried to play the same thing that teams tried to do to Jalen last year and this year. They rushed the edges and try to make him force him to make a quick decision and not run the ball. And Jalen did not do that. He said, you know what? You're not going to make me just tuck the ball and run, and you're not going to pressure me. Jalen did not feel the pressure from that. He actually hit his guy. And this is the first third down in the game. Jalen Hurts hits Cam Sims, number 17. He throws the ball low and away and in front. So it's low and in front and away from the defender, past the first down marker, but Cam Sims dropped it. You got to make that catch, especially when you're able to jump to the ball and get your hands on it. Now, some may say, well, Jalen put the ball higher than him, run with it. But I don't think there was any problem with this ball. Cam Sims just dropped it. And that was from a 4-wide set, actually. And the weird thing about that is that Matt Womack actually missed Austin Bryant off the edge. So Jalen Hurts drew that pass in the midst of pressure. That's what made that pass so impressive. The reason why the ball really couldn't be up and be quote-unquote perfect, where you lead the receiver out front where he can run and catch, is because he had to kind of contort his body to throw the quick slant to Cam Sims while falling back a little bit. That was a good play. The receiver just has to make the catch. Jumping down, Clemson's possession at the 11-minute, 7-second mark. Minkah Fitzpatrick is on the tight end, number 80, who shifts to the right side. As Minkah Fitzpatrick gets over there to where tight end 80 is, Tony Brown in press coverage on Hunter Renfrow wants to back off on the coverage upon seeing the tight end shift over to his side. He's probably expecting a pick play with the tight end. Minkah Fitzpatrick sees this and tells Tony Brown to stay in this press coverage. Don't get off of it. They're not going to pick you off. And Minkah Fitzpatrick was right. Also on the inside, Deron Payne and Isaiah Buggs are on the inside of the play, and Terrell Lewis, he's Sam linebacker here, Sam linebacker, and Rashaan Evans is at Jack linebacker, and Mac Wilson is playing spy. So we got a lot of defensively going on here. Deron Payne and Terrell Lewis do a stunt, which enters into Kelly Bryant's throwing lane, and then ends up batting the ball. And even if he didn't bat the ball, remember what I told you at the beginning of this play, where he told Tony Brown to stay in press coverage? Tony Brown was in good position to tackle Hunter Renfrow short of the first down. So that was great. Kelly Bryant was going to go for Hunter Renfrow all the way, but that stunt, Alabama's stunts in this game were super effective. And I'm glad that we got some guys back in who can really execute those plays. Now back to Alabama on the ball. 10-minute, 47-second mark of the first quarter. 3 wide with Josh Jacobs in the slot. He motions into a 2-back formation. And we do a triple option. So Guest Tech Sports, one of my subscribers who is always leaving really nice detailed comments in the videos, and I love responding to them, and you guys should too. He really loved this play. He did a really detailed analysis. I'm going to probably try to put it on here so you guys can see what he said a little bit too. But this is what I have to say. Irv Smith is on the right as the H-back. The line blocks down left, and Irv Smith seals off linebacker number 33, which is J.D. Davis, leaving the safety Van Smith to defend the speed option, it's true, alone. Jalen Hurts fakes the pitch. After he fakes the handoff inside to Damian Harris, him and Josh Jacobs then proceed to run a regular speed option to the outside after they got everybody sucked in on the fake handoff. Jalen Hurts then fakes the pitch to Josh Jacobs with a really nice step and head fake. I mean, your thing was a thing of beauty. Sending Van Smith into that direction as he flips his hip to try to stop that play before he dips back inside Jalen Hurts for a 19-yard gain on a run. Beautiful, beautiful play design. We really need to keep that up and bring that out again. Jalen Hurts, Josh Jacobs, and Damian Harris on triple option is just not fair for any defense. So we're going to drop down 9-minute, 58-second mark. Jalen Hurts sees the blitz, but leaves the play unchanged because the slants are going in the direction of the vacated blitz. Clemson sends Dorian O'Daniel and J.D. Davis off the opposite edges again. They're trying to contain Jalen, thinking they can't throw or thinking they're going to run, and they were wrong. Jalen Hurts hits Henry Ruggs on a slant route in that vacated spot. The ball zips past the linebacker number 34, Kendall Joseph, before he could get there. A nice, strong throw from Jalen. So we're going to go down a little bit. Brian Dable really brought out a lot of that New England Patriots stuff that they did over there, and the influence came out. You can see it. They brought this package maybe 3 or 4 times in the game. 9-minute, 15-second mark. New England Patriots influence here as we do a heavy package with 3 offensive linemen. Jedrick Wills is in at right tackle. Matt Womack is in at tight end. And we have 2 H-backs. That is a heavy package, and we run the ball for a first down. A lot of early on, I see the Alabama offensive line, instead of attacking Clemson head on, like trying to punch them, they really kind of washed them down and moved them out of the way. which is indicative of a zone scheme, which is smart though, because you can't really attack these guys head on and expect to win consistently. So that was a good scheme. I'm gonna drop down to later on in the drive. 6-minute 44-second mark. Alabama's still on the ball here. They blitz Kendall Joseph as the ball runs to the right here. Well, actually, he runs right by Rosh Piercebaker. Rosh Piercebaker doesn't get a big block on him. They're going to the left, and Rosh Piercebaker doesn't get a block on Kendall Joseph. It was a well-timed blitz. And that forced Bo Scarborough to go wide, where Clelin Ferrell had already pushed Jonah Williams up the field to push Bo Scarborough further wide instead of allowing him to get up the field. He's best when he gets up the field, not running sideline to sideline. That really threw off that play's effectiveness, and that put Alabama in a little bit of trouble, actually. But I'm just going to drop down to the next play. Eventually, we had to kick a field goal on this drive because that play really set into motion where it set us behind the chains. Clemson's defense was able to kind of attack a little bit on the next couple of plays. So we'll just go down. Oh, man, so many good plays I don't want to leave out, but I got to. It's just too much. 1-minute, 29-second mark of the first quarter. Alabama's back on the ball. By the way, Trevon Diggs looked really good on return today. Jalen Hurts sets Bo Scarborough right, and then he takes the snap. He went through all of his progressions here. People say Jalen Hurts can't read the defense. Well, he did it right here. He went through all his progressions here, and he started left, and he came all the way to his right to his check down, which is Bo Scarborough in a flat, got him for a first down. Don't tell me Jalen Hurts didn't read progressions, because he did it right here. 1-minute, 29-second mark of the first quarter. Now, 25 seconds left. 25 seconds left. This is so important. This play is so big because I said it. I said this. I'm so excited. In the Alabama Keys and Matchups video, I said this. It happened right here. Clemson put Dorian O'Daniel, that linebacker slash nickelback, in the slot on Calvin Ridley. This is a mismatch. I said if it happens, Calvin Ridley will win. Calvin Ridley ate him up immediately on the post route. This is in the end zone. This is the play where Jalen threw the touchdown, but he missed Calvin Ridley open the first time. But Jalen Hurts just didn't trust the throw at first for some reason. I think I understand why, but he didn't have to. I'll get into that. This allowed Clelin Ferrell to beat Jonah Williams and close in on Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts actually outran Clelin Ferrell to the edge. And because he did that, the defenders who were back a little bit came up to stop him running, which then opened up an easier lane for him to throw to Calvin Ridley, who realized that Jalen hadn't thrown him the ball on the post route. So he adjusted his route to follow Jalen in the end zone. So Calvin Ridley's behind him in the end zone, running toward the right sideline, as Jalen is now scrambling toward the right sideline. And the defenders come up, leaving an easier throw. Jalen Hurts pops it out there to Calvin Ridley, a touchdown. Now, like I said, I think I know the reason why Jalen didn't trust the first open lane where he didn't have to run. He could have easily just hit Calvin Ridley on the post route. Is because I think the zones of the linebackers, number 33, J.D. Davis, and 34, Kendall Joseph, they deterred him from throwing the ball. They weren't exactly really deep to where they could have jumped up and intercepted the ball, but they were kind of in the lane of his throw, and if he maybe threw it too low, then they could have tipped it or deflected it and got a pick. And if he had thrown it too high, maybe Calvin really wouldn't have been able to get it, and it will allow the DB to catch up. So I don't think Jalen had to worry about that because he has a strong enough arm to really hit that play and to get it in there before the linebackers have to do anything about it. So I think that was what was going through his mind. That's something that he can work on. If you're going to criticize Jalen, then you have to know what to criticize. You can't just say something as a blanket statement such as Jalen can't throw, because then you'll be wrong. On this particular play, he just has to trust his arm, and he doesn't have to be that safe. I think he's received so much coaching on how to be safe with the ball that at times he's too safe with the bball. And this is one of those cases, but it worked out well in the end anyway, as he got the touchdown. Moving on to the next play. We're in the second quarter here. 14-minute, 33-second mark. Alabama's on defense. Missed the holding call. This is Kelly Bryant's biggest run scramble of the day. Missed holding call on Alabama's defense. It should not have been the biggest running pass of the day. Terrell Lewis is that jack linebacker slash left end. Raekwon Davis and Jashawn Hand are two defensive tackles. Rashaan Evans is at the Sam linebacker spot. We do man coverage. We do a double stunt with Terrell Lewis and Rashaan Evans twisting in, and Terrell Lewis comes free. But then the right guard, number 55 of Clemson, gets away with a hold that drags Terrell Lewis to the ground. And it didn't look as flagrant, which is why I think the officials didn't call it or they didn't see it per se. And that allowed Kelly Bryant to run for first down, but it definitely was a hold. Terrell Lewis beat that guard to the edge and was going to get him, and that was contained, actually. I don't think it was undisciplined contained. I think it was disciplined. The stunts were intended to flush Kelly out, but Terrell Lewis was going to get the sack. It was going to flush him toward the side where the stunts were already on the contain, but because Terrell Lewis was dragged down, it left a hole in the middle. And Clemson was able to get a first down because of that play. So you can tell I'm a little bit passionate about that play. 14-minute, 4-second mark. Alabama stops the run with 3 defensive linemen. That's just all I got to say on that. I said before in the game, 13-minute, 27-second mark, in my keys and matches video, I was talking about how Deontay Thompson's a little bit more aggressive than Hootie Jones. He was the safety that took over Hootie Jones, and how that may cause him to jump some balls. He actually jumped the ball here, and it didn't work out on this play, but I still like the aggressiveness. So 13-minute, 27-second mark. Mack Wilson and Minkah Fitzpatrick fake the blitz, but Ronnie Harrison comes on the blitz. We do zone coverage. Who's this on here? Jashawn Hand goes around the inside shoulder of the left guard 51 to pressure Kelly Bryant, but he slings it out to Deion Kane in between the zones. Deontay Thompson comes up to jump the ball, and he almost got the pick, but he missed the tackle in the process, allowing the receiver to get a few more yards. Let's jump down a little bit more. 10-minute, 15-second mark of the second quarter. Mack Wilson, Deontay Thompson, and Ronnie Harrison all came on the blitz, leaving the corners in man-to-man on an island. Tony Brown is on the speedster, Higgins, number 5 for Clemson, by himself, man-to-man coverage. Deontay Thompson up the middle on his blitz makes Kelly Bryant throw the ball falling backwards, which was great. This really made this play. This is the underrated part of this play. Because he pressured Kelly Bryant like this and he wasn't able to step into the throw, the ball hung into the air and was a bit underthrown, which means the ball doesn't drive up the field. Tony Brown in nice coverage on Higgins, but he's slightly trailing, so they were doing a bit of a hand fighting there. Tony Brown comes with a veteran move here by subtly leaning his weight on the wide receiver's left arm in the midst of that hand fighting. And he didn't grab the arm or pull the arm, which is why they didn't call PI. But because of his position, how he was running with the receiver and leaning down on his arm, he didn't allow the wide receiver to lift that left arm. It was an incompletion. Clemson had to kick a field goal. Now, some may say, oh, that was pass interference. That's not one I would call pass interference. Maybe if you saw that play, let me know what you think about it. But I don't think it was, because he didn't grab or pull the arm. I think he just he used the rules to his advantage, and he played well. Good technique. Let's go down a little bit. Second quarter, 9 minutes, 5-second mark. Well-designed play for Alabama. Jerry Jeudy motions across as the snap comes. Jalen Hurts gives the ball to Damian Harris. This is the flea flicker. Damian Harris gives back on the flea flicker. Most people miss this, but Jalen Hurts had to flip the ball back around so Damian Harris had to pitch the ball back to Jalen. When he pitched the ball back to Jalen, the ball didn't perfectly land where Jalen's hands were on the laces. So Jalen had to flip the ball around and get his hands back on the laces to get a grip on laces. Then he threw the ball. And I think that split second hurt because the safety number, Van Smith, number 23, remember I told you about he makes mistakes in coverage downfield. I said that in my keys and matchups video. Van Smith will make a mistake. And it showed up here as he allowed Calvin Ridley to run past him on his route. But Van Smith showed excellent recovery speed on this play. He also had the awareness to get up and attack the ball in Calvin Ridley's hand. So because of the split second there where Jalen threw the ball, it didn't quite get to Calvin Ridley out in front, up the field, where he was able to run underneath it and get into the touchdown. This would be probably I think it's the first bad throw Jalen had of the game. And this is one where I think he wishes he had it back, because if he put it out in front, up the field, maybe even toward the side a little bit where Van Smith couldn't attack the ball. It still would have been a completion. But Van Smith, having the awareness to get up and hit the ball out of Calvin Ridley's hand, makes it an incomplete pass. Now, because the ball was high and lofted a bit, tells me that Jalen was not able to get his full body into the throw. That's why it came out the way it did. He ended up, if you pause it on after his follow through with his arm, he ended up leaning a bit with his right leg raised on the follow through. So he was leaning to the left with his right leg raised up a little bit. And that tells me that he didn't quite get the full range of motion as he was throwing the ball. And I think the timing on trying to get the grip and just trying to get the ball out, it didn't allow him to fully go through his mechanics and get this ball out to where it needed to be. But that being said, it still hit Calvin Ridley in the hand. So in that sense, it was something impressive. But he could have thrown that better. Anyway, on to the next play. The 6-minute 45-second mark of the second quarter. Alabama had a good play going, but the offensive line let Jalen Hurts down. So Jonah Williams let Cleveland run free to Jalen Hurts immediately. So Jalen Hurts has to roll right. But then Christian Wilkins blows through Lester Cotton to push Jalen Hurts back. So Jalen Hurts just had to check down to Bo Scarborough in the flat for a 1-yard gain. Jalen Hurts was going to work the one-on-one matchup to the right with Devontae Smith on the cornerback. Devontae Smith got a great release on the cornerback and was on top of the cornerback. He actually got it free from him and got on top of him on the route. But Jalen Hurts was already being flushed out of the pocket at that time. So this makes this play very frustrating because if he had his time, he would have been able to take the shot down the field with Devontae Smith. Not to mention that Jerry Jeudy was about to come open on a pivot out route. So he started running up, faked in, and then turned back toward the left sideline. He was going to be open, but the pressure forced Jalen to have to get out of there and throw it away, basically. And so we had to punt the ball. It's unfortunate and a frustrating play. I'm going to move down a little bit to the 5-minute 7-second mark. Clemson's on the ball. This is nice here. Rashaan Evans follows the tight end as if he is covering him. But then he blitzes off the edge without any indication. It's a screen pass, though, but Minkah Fitzpatrick isn't fooled. He was waiting on it. If you watch Minkah Fitzpatrick from the start of the play, you'll see it. Start the play over and watch Minkah Fitzpatrick. He runs up immediately to slow down Tevin Feaster by grabbing his leg. He ends up missing the tackle, but he slowed him down by grabbing his leg. But Rashaan Evans and Isaiah Buggs and Deshaun Hand get him behind the line of scrimmage. So this shows some good speed getting back to that play. Now, on the next play, or a play 1 or 2 plays later, the 4-minute 25-second mark, I highlighted this because this play impressed me. It impressed me when I saw the game. The spin move. This has got to be one of my favorite pass rushing moves of the year by the Alabama front seven. Rashaan Evans puts a spin move on the right tackle that just have you breathless. So to get inside of the right tackle's inside shoulder, he puts a spin move on him. He doesn't even get touched, and he immediately flushes Kelly Bryant out of the pocket, while the stunt movement of Deron Payne going to the outside where Rashaan Evans started on the play forces Kelly Bryant back inside, and that forces him to throw the ball away. Great defense by Alabama on this play. I'm going to move down a bit. Alabama's back on the ball. The 2-minute 30-second mark. Look at the hole opened up by Lester Cotton and Bradley Bozeman. It was a massive hole. Damian Harris splits the Red Sea for the first down on this run. Some great interior blocking by Alabama. That interior O-line, that's where I said Alabama needs to get some matchups won in my keys and matchups video, and they got some here, and it's impressive. And to this point, just to let you know, Jalen Hurts is 9 of 12 for 78 yards and a touchdown. So Alabama's offense is being pretty efficient here. Now we're going to skip down to the 2-minute 1-second mark. I wish that Robert Mullen Jr., the cornerback for Clemson, did not interfere with this play because it messed up Jalen Hurts' touchdown pass. So Robert Foster got outside release on the cornerback. Jalen Hurts then threw a beautiful ball down the right sideline. Robert Foster started pulling, oh, not Robert Foster. The cornerback started pulling Robert Foster's shoulder pad early on while the ball is in the air. So he was interfering about 3 seconds before the ball got there. He slowed Robert Foster down. And so Robert Foster wasn't able to get to the ball, or at least get an impact on it, because he slowed him down and then reached his hand up and knocked the ball away. So that was an obvious pass interference. But here's the other half of this play is that there was a pass interference, but then they called a penalty on Jonah Williams that he was too far up the field. And there was a guy down the field saying that he was too far blocking up the field. He was past 3 yards. That's what they say. But when I went back and reviewed the play, you can let me know. You guys go do it too. I saw that he was only 2.5 yards down the field when Jalen Hurts released the ball. He ended up past 3 yards down the field, but when Jalen Hurts threw the ball, he was only 2.5 yards down the field. So that was a missed call by the referees on that play. You can let me know what you think about that, but I think that was a missed call. We're going to go down a little bit. Oh, I don't want to skip all these plays. But I guess I got to. 32-second mark of the second quarter. Clemson, so they did this thing where they wanted to rush Jalen but contain him, and it was a really interesting way of trying to contain a quarterback. And I thought it was oddly effective in this game, but it was interesting. So listen to this. Clemson, they rushed their ends up the field on the tackles, but then they play contain with the inside guys of their defensive line, so the defensive tackles, and sometimes they'll bring a safety down to stand next to the defensive tackle, usually Christian Wilkins. They were sitting off the line of scrimmage, not engaging with the offensive line, but they were standing back as they waited to see if Jalen was going to run. So it was an interesting setup here of how they decided to contain Jalen. They didn't do this every play, but they did it every once in a while. So Alabama had 2 inside slant routes open, but the referee was in the way. So Jalen could have threw the ball, but the referee was there. And if he had thrown it, probably would have been incomplete because the referee was in the way of the slant routes. Eventually, Austin Bryant gets free and starts chasing Jalen Hurts. So he pulls the ball down and takes off. This is possible because the spy, this is one of those safeties they brought down, the spy, number 11, gets aggressive in trying to pursue Jalen Hurts. So instead of maintaining outside leverage like he was supposed to, and you can tell he was supposed to because the coaches got mad at him when he came off the field, he decides to jump inside of the offensive lineman's inside shoulder to get a straight run at Jalen. The problem is you're not going to stop Jalen from getting to the outside because he's fast enough to outrun you to the side, which is exactly what happened here. So Jalen Hurts gets outside of the leverage, outside of the contain, and he gets a 9-yard gain. Unfortunately, and that was on a 3rd and long, though, so he set us up to get an easy field goal. But, as you know, we missed the field goal here and hits the upright and bounces off. So at this point in the game, this is right before halftime. This was pretty much the last notable thing before halftime. Alabama had 3 red zone possessions in the first half. 1 touchdown, 1 field goal, and then 1 missed field goal. So let's get into the third quarter. So to start the third quarter out immediately, 14-minute, 53-second mark. I laughed at this because it was funny. I didn't notice it during the game, but I noticed it when I went back and watched it again. The long exchange. They sat there and they like they were having a conversation. The long exchange between Jalen Hurts and Calvin Ridley was immensely interesting. Jalen Hurts wanted to do something. I didn't never figure it out, or I just didn't want to think about it too much. Wanted to do something on this play, but Calvin Ridley said no. And Jalen Hurts was a bit. So I think what Jalen wanted to do was maybe like change to a quick slant route or some type of passing play, but Calvin Ridley don't do it. And it ends up being, or I think he wanted to change the route of Ridley on this RPO play. Like he knew something was going to be different. So when he snapped the ball and Jalen took the RPO, he was a bit indecisive on what he wanted to do, whether he wanted to go ahead and hand it off to Damian Harris or give the ball to Calvin Ridley. He saw something in Calvin Ridley. I think this is one of those situations where Jalen should have been more assertive for Ridley and said, you know what, no, I think this is going to happen. You need to listen to me, like he did in the Mississippi State game earlier this year. Because what he saw was that Clemson was playing soft and that he would be able to get a short pass out to Ridley. And He saw it, but he decided to kind of hold that ball in on Damian Harris just a little bit too long, and the ball ended up popping free. And because of this, it was a fumble, and Clemson recovers. And if you saw what he was looking at when the ball was fumbled, you saw that both Calvin Ridley and Hale Hinkins, the tight end, were open on the short stick routes. And I think that's what Jalen was seeing. He saw soft coverage, and he saw an opportunity for a short pass that maybe could have turned into a bigger game. And it just didn't work out in this play and a recovery. That's one of those situations where you have to be more assertive and say, you know what, no, we're going to do what I want to do on this play. Let's just do it. And you never know. It could be that Calvin Ridley was trying to get Jalen to see the play. And Jalen said no, but I think it was the other way around here. Let's go down. Oh, man, so many plays I don't want to skip, but I got to. 11-minute, 38-second mark. Clemson on the ball. In this particular situation. Oh, yeah. Alabama's back on the ball because Clemson had the ball to keep the field goal and all that good stuff. Alabama's defense really stepped up on that drive. 11-minute, 38-second mark. Clemson D-line falls the play. I mean, they completely fall the play. The D-line alone. So Alabama fakes the screen on the left side to Calvin Ridley. And it ends up being the screen to Bo Scarborough on the right side. But Bo Scarborough took too long to get from behind his block. But the play was going to be open, and it was a well-designed play. I think Alabama should come back to that play or should use that again because it seems like a really well-designed. Brian Dable is making his money. Brian Dable made his money with the design of his plays in this semifinal game. We just got to see the players executed a little bit better. 11-minute mark in the third quarter. Levi Wallace they were trying to pick on Levi Wallace here. For some reason, they thought that they can pick on Levi Wallace. And to be fair, that he doesn't have as much talent as some of the other cornerbacks, so they thought maybe this is the guy we can take advantage of. But you can't pick on Levi Wallace. And on this particular play, Kelly Bryant takes the one-on-one coverage with Levi Wallace and Deion Kane down the right sideline. Deion Kane has a step on Levi Wallace, but Levi Wallace attacks the ball as Deion Kane goes up to get it, and he ends up forcing an incompletion. So what happened was they threw the ball up. Deion Kane was coming down with the ball, but Levi Wallace, being a technical veteran that he is, reaches out with his hand and rakes the ball out of it, causing an incompletion right before he hits the ground. Great play by Levi Wallace. And those two, they actually started jawing at each other. They were kind of like fussing and fighting with each other, and I was like, man, look at him go. But it's great that he didn't give up on the ball, on the play. We go down a little bit here. 9-minute, 30-second mark. Alabama sends 5 people on the blitz as Anthony Jennings gets the edge on the right tackle, number 73, and he rakes Kelly Bryant's arm as he attempts to throw. The ball ends up landing in Daron Payne's hand, and the rest is history. He returns the interception for 21 yards. That's the man right there. Daron Payne, soft hands, got some athleticism. It was a good play. It was really good rush by Anthony Jennings on the edge. I'm going to miss Anthony. I feel so bad for Anthony Jennings because he was underrated all season long. And when he finally gets the spotlight, he gets hurt in the game. It's unfortunate. He can't play next week because it's a sprain and it looks like he's going to be out. Next play I'm going to get highlighting for you. 8-minute, 45-second mark. Alabama's ball. After Damian Harris motions out wide to the right, Jalen Hurts takes the snap and doesn't throw to Jerry Jeudy in the flat, and he completely misses Calvin Ridley wide open to his left. This was against zone coverage as well, so that scramble wouldn't have been that dynamic anyway. I think on this particular play, he predetermined that he was going to run on this play, so we spread them all out. Jalen Hurts in the offensive line. He saw that, we got some blocks on folks and we can get a run. But the problem is they play zone coverage, so even if you got maybe like 4 or 5 yards, they probably would have been on you. I think in this particular situation, like I said, it wasn't that he didn't read the defense. So this wasn't a situation of Jalen not being able to read the defense. It's just that Jalen decided that he was going to run on this play when he didn't have to. Like I said, Jerry Jeudy was open in the flat, and Calvin Ridley, because of the play design, this is Dable has some really well play design. Really was inside of Devontae Smith, but on the route, Devontae Smith ran an inside route, and Calvin Ridley ran a route around that toward the left sideline, and he was wide open. He wasn't still running down the sideline. He just kind of settled in the zone, and it was going to be a first down play. So unfortunately, that's one that Jalen Hurts just missed. 7-minute 15-second mark of the third quarter. We do that heavy tight end package again with Jedrick Wills at the right tackle and Matt Womack at the tight end spot. I really think we should do that again. We should just constantly use that. Play like Stanford out here. This was the fourth down play where Damien Harris jumped over the defensive line to get the first down. And that play is underrated because of his vision on this play. So Damien Harris saw that the defensive linemen were all slanting toward the direction that the run was going. So instead of trying to run into that slant, Damien Harris cut back and then jumped over the head of the slanting defensive lineman, which is smart because when defensive linemen are slanting, they're getting low and they're running toward like your legs. So if you get up and over them in the opposite direction that they're going, there's no way they can stop you from getting the play. So that was a great play there by Damien Harris. 6-minute 46-second mark. It's a little small play action movement that Jalen Hurts made. And that brought the linebackers up. You can see it. They bit on it really, really hard. And it wasn't even much of a play action. It was just a little small play action move. And Jalen Hurts waited patiently for Calvin Ridley to get upfield on a slant route. So Calvin Ridley kind of ran a slant route where you don't immediately cut to the end of the field. You like kind of move up and then your end of the slant, your slant kind of moves upfield a little bit. So Jalen Hurts waits till he got a little bit upfield. Then he hits him. And it would have been a touchdown, in my opinion, if Calvin Ridley just stepped forward and dove into the end zone. As a matter of fact, he maybe could have kept running because he's so fast. But he tried to do that he's done this multiple times throughout the season, so I know that this is what he was trying to do. He tried to do that stop and spin in the other direction thing that he usually does, where he like stops on a dime and then he spins his body back around to go the opposite direction. But he ends up slipping and he had to recover himself, and that little second or two slowed him down, and he tried to dive in the end zone, and he ended up getting 1 yard short. So that was rough. I was mad about that. I was like, Calvin really just scored a touchdown. Stop trying to be cute. But luckily, that didn't ruin Jalen Hurts getting the opportunity to pass for a touchdown. It actually brought us one of the most endearing moments from this game that everyone's going to love, because at the 5-minute 50-second mark, this is where Duran Twinkle Toes Payne does his stuff. I mean, do I have to say any more? We should use this formation more often now. It's the formation where we use Quentin Williams and Duran Payne in the backfield on the goal line. Because people think we're going to run. We have run out of this play this year, and we have scored a touchdown running out of this play. But now we should run it more often because we can use the play action on it. So people are now going to worry about the run and the play action. So the pass as well. Nice job of waiting by Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts doesn't immediately throw this ball to Duran Payne because he doesn't want Duran Payne to have to try to catch this ball on the run. You don't want to lead a defensive lineman up the field trying to catch a pass. That's just too hard for them to do, or you wouldn't expect them to be as natural doing it as wide receivers. So Jalen Hurts kind of runs a little bit to the outside to give Duran Payne some time to step into the end zone. Then Jalen Hurts puts a little touch on it and throws it right at his body so that he makes this catch as easy as possible so that it is an easy catch. And what made this play really cool is that it was poetic justice because it was a pick play. A pick play with defensive linemen. That's amazing. That was a really good play. I had fun watching that one. So 5-minute 35-second mark, Alabama's back on the ball. Textbook coverage on the slant route by Levi Wallace against Deion Kane. So they tried to pick on him again. Like I said, it's always a mistake to try to pick on Levi Wallace. He has held his own the last 2 times Clemson has tried to go after them. So on this play, they tried to do it again. He flipped his hips on this slant route, and then he attacked the ball with his hand. He's really good at using his hands and attacking the ball and getting after the ball. He does everything right. The ball popped up into the air, and Mack Wilson grabbed the interception for the touchdown. He grabbed the interception and returned it for a touchdown. Good job by Mack Wilson being in position to make that play. So Mack Wilson, the reason why he was able to be in such good position to catch this ball is because he had already started rotating over to that slant route in his zone to put a hit on Deion Kane if he catches the ball, to make it an incompletion. But when the ball popped up in the air, he was already in the right spot to jump up and get it. Great play. Good job. Man, this play, Deshaun Hand got a sack at one point. Oh, man, we We dominated line scrimmage. I'm just going to move on down here. The 1 minute 29 second mark. Contrary to the commentators' comments on this play, Jalen Hurts did not throw this too hard for Bo Scarborough. It actually needed, so this is a little flat route out to Bo Scarborough up the field, almost like a little mini wheel route that would have gotten the first down here. It needed some zip on this pass because the linebacker was closing in fast on this play. I believe it was linebacker 47. Bo Scarborough just drops the pass. He had two hands on it. And it was a harder catch. It was a harder catch because he needed to put a little more zip on it, but he needed to catch it. If he threw the ball any softer than he did, the linebacker would have got there and it wouldn't have been the first down play. It probably would have been broken up because he would have hit Bo Scarborough trying to catch the ball. He's not a wide receiver. So he had to put the zip on it that he did. I did notice, though, which is why I like this play, some good play design by Dable. Calvin Ridley did find an opening in the zone a little bit away from the play on the other side of the field, but Jalen Hurts was already throwing to Bo Scarborough, and of course, why not? I mean, this was an easy first down play. Calvin Ridley was in the slot on that play, so we should come back to more slot plays for Calvin Ridley. Man. Ooh, do I want to get that route? Yeah, I'll do this play. 1 minute 23 second mark. So with Austin Bryant rushing up the field and the linebacker number 47 coming on a blitz around the left edge of the offensive line, Jalen Hurts pulls the ball down and he runs for the first down. So great job, first of all, just running for the first down, getting away from that pressure, that athletic Clemson front. It's a good job, though, by Matt Womack to keep Austin Bryant wide on the play. If he wanted to take a blitzing hit, though, if Jalen Hurts wanted to take a hit on this play and make a completion instead, he could have stayed in the pocket, hung in there just a little bit longer and taken the hit from linebacker number 47 and then hit Cam Sims on a drag route right in front of him. But I guess why take the hit when you can run for the first down? Either way, it would have been effective, I think. Unless Cam Sims, didn't catch the ball or didn't run immediately to the first down marker. Now, 0 minutes, like you need to know that. 58 seconds left in the third quarter. The play action pass here for Jalen Hurts with excellent pass protection. Jalen Hurts with not the greatest throw here. The ball is behind and low, but Robert Foster still gets his hands on it, but he couldn't corral it. So I still expected him to catch it, though, but that ball definitely needs to be higher into the outside. This was a bad throw from Jalen here. Every once in a while, you'll see him just kind of put the ball into the ground and behind the receiver, and it's like, yeah, it's just something you got to throw better, and there's nothing you can do to dress that one up or explain that. You just got to throw that ball better. So that's something Jalen could do better, and that was one play that he did miss. But all is not done. Later on, I don't even want to talk about the play where Lester Cotton got rolled up. But 24 seconds left in the third quarter. Clemson sends 6 people, and they get a free rusher on the outside. Jalen Hurts makes Austin Bryant miss in the backfield. Then he spins away. This is an impressive play from Jalen Hurts. If this play didn't get the first down, but it was just a really, really impressive athletic play by Jalen. They sent 6 people, got a free rusher, mind you, a free rusher. That free rusher was Austin Bryant. Jalen Hurts makes Austin Bryant miss in the backfield. Then he spins away from Dexter Lawrence, who reached out and got a hand on him, who's 340 pounds, by the way, a really strong guy who handles double teams, while finally outrunning Christian Wilkins to the sideline to end up getting 5 yards while tight-roping the sideline. That's an impressive play. All right, that's just not something the average person can do. Now we're on to the fourth quarter. J.K. Scott starts out with a really nice punt. And we're just going to drop down here. 13 minutes, 25 seconds left. Deshaun Hand on the interior pushes the offensive lineman into Kelly Bryant's face. Christian Miller on the left edge contains the outside, and Terrell Lewis from the right edge beats left tackle Mitch Hyatt around the corner into a falling back incompletion that was aimed at the running back. So we got just pressure from all over the place on this play and good contain that not allowed Kelly Bryant to move. He wasn't able to run on this play, and the pressure caused him to make a bad decision, falling back. I told you in my keys and matchups video, when the pressure gets in his face, he will fall back throwing the ball. And he did here. Bad play, incompletion. 13 minutes, 17 second mark. Terrell Lewis was thinking about a game here because he tried to do what he did to, was it Jalen Hurts' game? Or it was Tua Tagovailoa in the spring game where he picked off the little pass at the line of scrimmage to return it for a touchdown. He almost picks off the screen pass intended for Hunter Renfrow. And it was just a work of art. 13 minute, 13 second mark. A beautiful stunt on the interior by Deshaun Hand and Deron Payne. Deshaun Hand bulldozes through the line, and the referees probably missed a holding call here in this play because as he goes through, he gets kind of grabbed a little bit and they kind of fight him. And I'm like, that looks like a holding call. I don't know how they missed that. And Anthony Jennings containing the edge actually prevents Kelly Bryant from scrambling, and Kelly Bryant has to throw it away. Great defensive stand for Alabama. 8 minute, 45 second mark. Pockets roll left on 3rd and 3. Dorian O'Daniel comes up to contain Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts is a really good play for Jalen. Jalen flips his hips inside and his shoulders. He flips his hips and shoulders inside of that container. Instead of keep running to the outside, he stops and flips himself inside to make a new pocket. So he's staying in. He makes a new pocket as it rolls left. Then he throws the perfect ball needed to Henry Ruggs. This ball is underappreciated because it looked like a bad throw at first, but the more I looked at the play and rewinded and saw it again, the ball was actually low and away from the DB who was covering Henry Ruggs, number 31. He made sure, though, not to throw it high into the outside because Cam Sims was also running a route down the right sideline. On this particular play, it wasn't the right sideline. It was actually the left sideline. He was running a route down the left sideline. This way, Henry Ruggs' defender nor Cam Sims' defender could not get to the ball. It was a safe downfield first down completion. That was an excellent throw by Jalen Hurts. And I know that he was aiming the ball to that spot because if you watch him throw the ball, you can see where his arm is aiming to where he threw the ball at instead of seeming like an errant throw. Good job, Jalen. Getting to the end here. So I skipped a lot of stuff I didn't want to, but I just had to. Man. What am I going to do last? Oh, it's the 7 minute, 22 second mark. It won't be the last thing. I would say one more thing, but this is basically no more because we stopped scoring and all that good stuff. But the 7 minute, 22 second mark, he tried to roll the pocket right, but Austin Bryant pushed the right tackle upfield. So Jalen Hurts had to run around it and ultimately threw it away. Saban got mad on that play. You know, that's where Funny Man would be like, run the ball, B-A-W-L, because we need to take the air out of the ball, like Saban said, and get the clock done and not waste any more time in this game, maybe getting some more players injured. So we punt the ball back to Clemson. Alabama starts playing a little bit looser coverage and just trying to let Clemson waste the clock by allowing them to throw short passes. So Clemson held on to the ball from the 6 minute, 39 second mark to the 1 minute and 48 second mark in the red zone where we stopped them and they weren't able to get into the end zone. That drive was about 18 plays, but then Alabama got the ball back. They got the ball back, and they did 3 straight runs for Damian Harris to end the game. And that was it. The game was over. Clemson didn't have anything to do. They couldn't come back into it. The defense dominated. Those stunt patterns for the defensive line and that tight coverage, challenging those receivers up on the line of scrimmage, that made the difference in this game. Kelly Bryant could not respond. The keys and matchups I gave you about what their offense is, their offense could not overcome the defensive plan that Alabama brought to them. And that's the story of this game. And Alabama on offense, they didn't produce as many touchdowns as the fans would like, but they were consistent. They converted on third downs. They ran the ball, and they put Jalen in good situations to make some throws. Some of them he wish he would have back and to make some good ones, but he also made some good decisions and did make some good throws. Basically, if you can't tell, I hate when people overly generalize and criticize Jalen and say he can't throw the ball. If your statement is Jalen Hurts can't throw the ball, then you're wrong, basically. If your statement, like I'm going to say it again, if you watch an Alabama game in depth and you come away saying Jalen Hurts can't throw the ball, you are absolutely wrong. It's just that simple. because you can clearly see the kid knows what he's doing. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't mean he can't improve. I'm not saying that doesn't mean he can't do some things well, or that he can't stand to maybe learn a few more things needed to become a more effective passer. But to say the kid isn't a good quarterback, you're lying to yourself. And maybe you're just a spoiled Alabama fan. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh with my statements, but I just hate when people make criticisms that are way too general and don't give an account for all the factors in the game. That's just how my mind works. I analyze everything, and it's just not a smart, nor is it healthy, or what's what I'm looking for, fair criticism. What I'm hearing from some of these fans about Jalen Hurts, but that's my soapbox. I'm off of that. I just came here to say Alabama dominated Clemson, and this is why it happened. Thank you for watching the video. It's a little late, you know, it's a few days before this national championship game, but I got this out, and I'm going to start working on that. Hopefully get some videos out every day till the game. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you for the next one.